Right.
Ooh, no shortcuts. Might have seen yeah. No shortcuts. I'm here to give you motivation and a little bit of inspiration. No shortcuts. Me and the boss ain't easy. Every day somebody needs me. It's no shortcuts. I wake up, stretch, say a prayer, coffee and then some fresh air. Time to get it poppin'. I got a fresh 24. Hopefully I'm blessed with plenty more. Meanwhile, I'm thankful for the fire on the inside burning. I keep earning as the world keeps turning. The thing about life is you never stop learning. Hoping everybody Maxwell, Vernon. You make a plan, then you stick to it. Even in tough times, get through it. So get to it. And make sure your family's straight. We going worldwide, you understanding me, mate? Providing a platform where like minds can meet. Closed mouths don't get fed, want everybody to eat. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. Tuesdays at noon, let's all get rich. It's no shortcuts. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the No Shortcut Show.
Yeah. Mic check 1 2 1 2. We are live and direct, ladies and gentlemen. Am I coming in? Everything's good?
Yeah, it's a little delayed, but it'll catch up.
All right, it'll catch
There we
up.
go.
It
It's
must
fixed
be.
already.
It is lunchtime.
Get you a
This is my guest today.
yeah.
Yeah. What's good, Josh? You see you guys coming on in. You guys,
Welcome.
everybody can hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. You know what day it is. Today is Tuesday. The time is 12 noon. You know what that means. It's time for another installment of the No Shortcut Show with Midas and Fame. Before we proceed, we recognize that today is Valentine's Day. So
Yeah.
we want to be noble and on point and wish everyone out there, men, women, children, everybody, love is love. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yes. It's a beautiful day outside, ladies and gentlemen. And as I say every week, we're blessed, we're humble, we're highly favored. We look good, we smell good because we just took a nice little shower and sprayed a
Absolutely.
spritz of cologne on. And we're getting ourselves together to come on screen and be with you folks for the lunch hour. We appreciate you guys as usual tapping in with us every week, taking a moment out of your schedule even though you may be on lunch break, whatever it is that you may be doing, we appreciate your time. You guys
Yeah.
coming in, hanging out with us, and we build, have a little bit of fun, spread a little bit of information, and
Yeah.
then we continue on with our day. We want to encourage you guys as you're coming in, drop us a comment, say what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be shy. Let us know where
Please
you're tuning in from. You know, do
don't
all
be
of that.
shy. Come on in, and if you are coming in, if you haven't done so already, go to that link I put on the bottom, ecam.live/connect. That way,
Yeah,
when you do comment, we can actually see you. We can actually see who you are when you comment. And like, if
yes,
you don't do that, only thing I see is Facebook user, where it says
yes.
Facebook user. So I can't see who you are unless you give Ecamm permission. They're
Hmm.
not going to spam you. They're not going to use you to run ads. They're just using your profile just so we can see, when
Yes.
you're interacting with this show. So hit that link and
It's
give
already in
us
there.
permission. Yeah, I put it
Oh,
on the
there you go,
bottom of the
right there.
screen right there.
Ecamm, folks, right there. Check it out. Ecamm with two M's
Yeah.
dot live/connect, so we can see, who's saying what. If you're on Facebook, I don't think it's an issue. Is that correct? Is it just YouTube or
It's no,
you
it's
not?
on no, it's specifically on Facebook. If you're on
Oh,
YouTube, you don't have to do that. This is just a
got
Facebook thing. The
you. Hmm.
inside the group, people who are on Facebook watching outside the group,
Hmm.
they're good. But now that we started that group, anybody that's watching from inside the group, they have to give
Mm,
Ecamm. It's just an
okay.
extra little step there.
Yeah. So
But
we hope
yeah,
you folks don't mind doing that. We're learning as we're going here, but
yeah,
we're figuring it out. Shout out to DJ Famous over there.
yeah. Shout out to YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah. Hey, welcome all of our audience on YouTube, on Facebook. If you're on Twitch, Shout out to you guys. And pretty soon, once we get the additional updates and all that, we're gonna go live from Instagram as well.
Yeah,
So we
buddy.
have all these platforms connected, and we'll just have one big party at noon on Tuesdays. You know?
That's right. Simultaneous. Bring all
Yes,
our
yes,
families
yes.
together.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed, if you
Yo.
are watching, we ask that you please share this to your own individual pages. This is a live interactive show. We encourage you guys to comment, and as I always say, the more people we have in here, the merrier. So we try to have a balance, as I said in the green room, our virtual green room. I think we try to have a nice balance of information and having some fun. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Share it
yeah.
with your people. We all know some people that are not yet, tucked into this community, but we know some people who are entrepreneurs or hustlers, or they got a side hustle or a main gig, or they just like to be entertained at 12 o'clock every week.
Yeah,
So just
yeah.
share it with your people. You'd be surprised. They're going to thank you later once you get on the
Everyone is
stage.
welcome. Everyone is
Yeah.
welcome. You know, and
We're on.
real quick, I remember Josh had a birthday last week. He was out the
Yeah.
country. I think we saw he was in Jamaica having a good old time. Happy birthday again to him. We got Juan Velasquez Cruise Planners in
What
the
up,
house.
Juan? What up,
Shout
Juan?
out to
Good to see
him,
you, brother.
man. Yeah, yeah. We thank all of you guys for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope this is not your first time, and if so, we hope it's not your last time. But I have to introduce this distinguished gentleman to the left of the screen and
Mm,
give him a proper introduction. This guy is the executive producer of this very show, the No Shortcut Show with Midas and
yep.
Fame. He's also a co-host. He's not only that, but he's an event coordinator. You know, he's a
Man,
digital
I
media
do those things.
strategist,
I
and
do
he's
that.
an entertainment consultant, ladies and
I do
gentlemen.
that.
Last but not least, as I always say, he's your favorite DJ's favorite DJ. Please
Yeah.
put some applause in the chat, make some noise at home for none other than Mr. DJ Famous, aka
Yeah.
Mr. Mr. Travis Mizell.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I gotta get your cash app so I could send you something for that intro. I got to put a little I got to put a little something in your pocket.
Yes, sir. You
Put a
know how
little
we
something
do.
in your pocket, man. And
Hmm.
I would not be the gentleman I am
Ah, wow.
if I couldn't return that intro to
All
this
right.
guy right here, the music director for the chairman of the legendary chairman of the board, member of the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame,
Mhm.
Rock Hill Music Hall of Fame, member of Mellow Groove, MC, host of
Hmm.
That's My Story podcast and this podcast here.
Yes, yes, yo.
He's a talented keyboard player, musician, music producer, and he did the intro for this podcast. That's him on the mic
Yeah,
because he still do that too.
yeah, yeah. I do it a
What
little
up,
bit.
Jerry Midas Hardison? Let's give a virtual applause for my co-host.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We here. We here,
What's
man.
up,
Thank you
man?
for the warm introduction. We hope
Yeah, man.
everybody enjoyed the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah. We just do a little recap. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't do much over the weekend. I had my son. My schedule's still open. I'll be out and about this weekend. But
yeah.
what's up, my brother Matt in the house? Happy
Matthew,
Valentine's
what's
Day, my
happening?
brother.
I got
Yeah, yeah,
Matthew's
yeah. He's got
bicycle
his
on
own
for him.
signature sound
Yeah,
from this episode. Yeah, yeah. Hope everybody enjoyed that game. It was actually a great game. I watched it from start to finish, but I turned my back for my son to take a phone call. Uh, I think in the third quarter,
hmm.
and then when I when I look back, I'm like, Kansas City's
What
back in
happened?
this thing.
Yeah,
What happened? They got came back in the game quicker than I make rap chat songs. You know?
yeah. Yeah, boy, they came back on it. It was a pretty good game, though. I did the same thing. I kind of dozed away from it. I was doing some other things, working on the
Yeah.
computer, and I still had the TV up, but it was on mute because I was
Okay.
listening to something. And then I looked up. I was like, yo, his
Yeah,
name is
man.
Patrick Mahomes, for real.
Yeah, it was a great game, man. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles, and even shout out to
Absolutely.
Rihanna for the Super Bowl
Shout out to
performance.
Rihanna.
You know, it was incredible. You know, people like to hate, but I can't hate because you know why? I can't do it. So
Yeah,
it's
I can't
much
do what
love,
she
and she
did.
did it all in her situation of having a bun in the oven. So
Hmm.
all I can say is kudos. You couldn't have got me up on them hikes with a microphone.
I know, strapped in or
Nah,
not.
no way, buddy.
Yeah, it was
So
all
yeah.
good. I thought it was well done, man. It was
Oh
well
yeah, oh
done.
yeah. And us being music lovers, man, I think by nature our appreciation is different than just a person who doesn't do it music and they just spectate. I think when you're kind of involved in the art itself, there's
Yeah.
already a deeper just to even get that opportunity. I can't hate on it.
Yeah.
Can't hate
Absolutely.
on it. So anybody gets the opportunity, he pulls it off. I got nothing but love and respect.
Yeah. And then in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
words of Rasheed Wallace,
The ball don't lie.
both teams played hard, my man. Both teams played
Oh,
hard.
I thought you was
Both
talking
teams.
about,
Oh,
they got
ball
a
don't
whole
lie. Yeah.
hey, they got a whole compilation, ladies and gentlemen. I'm off subject for a
I
second.
know.
But they got a whole compilation of Rasheed Wallace on YouTube yelling
Yeah.
out the ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie. Every
When
time he
people
grab it.
when they
Yeah.
when they when the opposing team would shoot a free throw and miss off a foul,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking both teams played hard.
Yes,
Both
yes,
teams
that
played hard.
part too. That
Yeah.
part too. Yeah.
Yo, we have a
Oh,
special guest with us today, man.
we do have a special guest with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, this guest, she's super cool lady. I had the pleasure of meeting her some while back. We did a function together where I was DJing and her company was being represented there. And
Yes,
you could just get vibe off of people, when
absolutely.
you're in person.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do these events, these big vendor events where there's a lot of different vendors there,
Mhm.
and some people are kind of just kind of a little bit reserved or kind of
Mhm.
standoffish, not really trying to socialize. They're just there to get their business done. But
Yeah.
this lady and her people that was there with her, they were super cool. And then
Mhm.
just from there, we started, interacting and started this relationship. And I started following her, and we follow each other on social media and kind of recommend when I know someone needs her service, I would recommend, and vice versa. But
Mhm.
I will always notice, she really got her social game up, on the social
Right.
media and her marketing and branding and how she puts her business and her personal page out there is something
Right.
I always watch it because I'm looking for tips and
Yeah.
ideas of,
Always.
branding and marketing and always be selling even when you're not really selling. And
Mhm.
she's super cool, man. We're excited to talk to her. She is the owner of the Standard Pour Company, a mobile
Yeah.
bartending service. Let's hear it for Miss Jessica
Yeah.
Whitesides,
Yeah. Put some
everybody. Yes,
applause
she
in the
is.
chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Welcome,
What's up,
welcome, welcome.
Jessica?
Hey, oh God, y'all's intros make me feel real special. Ooh,
I'm
that's a
learning
Yeah.
from
lot to
this
live up
guy.
to.
I'm learning
Oh,
from this
stop
guy.
it.
I'm telling you. He's the A Mike.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, hold on. Before we get started with Jessica,
Oh,
Josh is absolutely right. We can't forget Chris Stapleton because he killed it.
yeah, for
He
sure,
absolutely
for
killed
sure.
it at the
Hey,
Super Bowl.
Josh, I was trying to keep it brief, but you're right, brother.
Yeah, he
You're
killed it.
right.
Yeah,
You did.
he
Yeah,
definitely
thank
killed
you
it.
for joining us today,
Absolutely.
Jessica.
Thank y'all for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. I know we've been trying to schedule with Jessica for a while since last season, and
Okay.
things didn't work out schedule wise. And again, with us moving to 12 noon instead of the 7 p.m. time slot, it kind of
Yes.
opened up the window for some guests that we weren't able to get before because 7 p.m. is crazy. I mean, Jessica's got kids as well, and she had
Yeah.
soccer or softball or something going on, so we
Right.
couldn't get it scheduled. And then we're running into that same problem where we just started
Yeah.
to have other
Yeah.
evening commitments, which is why we moved season 2 to 12 noon. So we're glad you're here now.
Yeah. And it's been working out just fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit. Let's start off, Jessica. We always like to start with our guests about where you're from. Tell us where you're from, where you were born, and where you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Catawba County, so near Hickory, North Carolina.
Okay.
Um, moved to Charlotte through college. So as I was in Charlotte going through school, unfortunately, I had to pay for school. So I started bartending and working, like odd jobs, just kind of hustling, trying not to have that student loan debt, which I don't,
Hmm.
thank goodness. And that kind of led me into where I'm at now. Took a little pause from bartending once I got my degrees and got a big girl job and did
Hmm.
HR finance, which again works with owning a business. So it's a
Yeah.
great gumbo that kind of brought me here and helped with the success, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And Yeah, so then I met my husband about 8 years ago
Mhm.
and moved to Morganton, which is where I'm at now. So I'm perfectly in between Charlotte and Asheville.
Okay. And, well, listen, you sped all through that.
She went all the way through the interview.
You
Oh,
know, we're just kidding.
I was
Now,
just
now,
playing with
should
you.
we start over?
No, no.
no, because we got you. We got you now. Let's. I'm gonna back up a little bit. Tell us a little bit. You told us where you're born and raised, as far as
Mhm.
Catawba County. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, your upbringing. Do you have any siblings?
So this is where we're gonna spend a lot of time. Y'all
Yeah,
ready?
yeah.
Yes.
Let's
So
do it. We
so
got
I'm
time.
actually yeah, perfect. So I'm
Yeah.
actually adopted.
Oh,
So I always start this story with I have two sets of family. So
uh,
I've got my adoptive family, and then I also have this like random side family that's what
okay,
it's my god family, but those are the folks that I grew up with, and they were like friends of my biological parents.
okay.
So they kind of inserted themselves into my life because
Mhm.
I mean, why not? They wanted to make sure that everything was good. So
Yeah,
I do technically not have siblings, but I really do. So I have a brother and a
yeah.
sister from the God family side, and then my adoptive family. So
Mm, that's
it's kind of
awesome.
twofold. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate doing family tree projects because,
Mm.
of course, I mean you can hear me how country I sound. So whenever we have family tree, I'm like, well, it's more kind of like a bush, but like not because of like I'm Southern, so not that reason, but
Yeah,
just because it's different.
yeah. No, that's totally understandable. And we like to get a little bit into detail because again we talk about business and things here as well as having fun, but we also understand that everybody has a story, and I
Mhm.
feel like when
Mhm.
we however specific or unique your story may be, there's someone out there who's listening who can either identify with it or maybe take something from it, and build
Yeah.
upon their own situation. So and as they say along the way, a child can have too much love, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So even though you had an adopted family, you identified with another group of people as family. So that's just extra support as
Yeah.
far as how I see it.
Yes, there was definitely no shortage of love. Like, and Travis knows, like, I'm a hugger at every event. I'm like, "Aw, let's just come here. Just come here."
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. No, hugs is
I
our way of spread good vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
So, I'm
yeah.
either gonna give you a hug or a cocktail or both. So that's what you can expect.
No, that's great. That's great.
Nice.
Okay. So that's your upbringing. What kind of things were you into as far as like maybe hobbies or passions or interests like as a child going into your teenage years?
So I was kind of an awkward shy kid, if you can believe that.
No,
I
man.
really had to right? I really had to grow into who I am now, but, I guess interest, I just normal kid stuff. I'm not very sporty, so I guess I identified more with, like, the theater kids, but with this accent, I was always told, "Well, you shouldn't pursue that because, you're not very marketable being Southern." And now I look back
Really?
and I'm like, I really
Mm.
wanna cuss people because 'cause I'm like, "Why would you tell someone that when you've got Matthew McConaughey or,
Yeah,
all of these people that've got very distinct voices?" I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
y'all
yeah,
just stifled my creativity. Why would you
yeah.
do that?"
That's the very
So,
first thing I thought of.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't
yeah.
mean but you should never tell no matter what their dream is, right?
Yeah.
You should never discourage a person's dream. You know what I'm saying? I think
Mhm.
at most you can offer some type of realistic point of view if it's a little outlandish, but no, there's no dream that is unattainable.
Mhm.
And we should encourage, especially like children or teenagers, if they have a dream to do something, we should
Mhm.
encourage it, help
Yeah.
nurture it, water the flower of the dream, you
Mhm.
know, because there's no thing too big to accomplish. And like you
Right,
said,
and
it kind of hurt your feelings. I would imagine.
yeah, so I think that's why I was kind of more shy and reserved than I am now because I just didn't quite find my comfort zone, when folks are telling you, well, maybe you shouldn't do that, or why don't you try this instead of that? But it's not really where your passion is. So I think that led me though to where I'm at now and having an established small business. I really want to help other small business folks and
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs figure out their path and how they can get where they want to be, regardless of what it is. I mean, when I told my family that I wanted to have a mobile bar service, they were like, I don't know about that because it's a really
Yeah.
niche business.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, "You know what? No, I can do this. Like, we're gonna figure this out." And then it
Hmm.
just opened up a whole community of folks that do what I do. I mean,
That's
we're
awesome.
few, but we're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So we
Absolutely.
we usually have a lot of musicians on the show, right? Because we're both in that music space too. But one thing that we always ask our musician interviews are, did you grow up, playing music? How did you get started with music? So were you doing a lot of drinking when you were younger?
Oh my God.
Just
Well,
kidding.
when I was about
Not
8 years
to, not
old,
to handle them.
no, that's
That
That was
is
a
crazy.
hilarious.
little Dr. Phil moment.
That is so funny. So actually, my biological family not so much, but the family now, they're not real heavy drinkers.
Mhm.
So I was kind of solo in my adventure of like exploring when we would go out to restaurants and stuff until my
Yeah.
sister got married. Now my brother-in-law will drink whatever I asked him with me, so that's good. But yeah, so no, the exposure really was bartending through college
Yeah.
and actually bartending before I was legally able to,
Sure.
this
Sure.
accent, those backwoods bars. But I realized that it's good money and it's good networking.
Yeah.
So I started it early.
Yeah. Hey, allegedly.
Moonshine.
Let's throw that in there. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
That establishment's no longer, so we're not gonna say no names, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Bob. Happy
Hey, it's
Valentine's
Francis.
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. So, at what point did you decide? I know I'm probably fast forwarding a little bit too, Midas, but at what point did you
Okay.
decide when you were bartending to, get through college and stuff like that? At what point did you decide that you wanted to be your own, like start a business from it and not work for someone else?
So it wasn't at that point specifically. So I had stopped bartending probably about 2015 and then kind of got a big girl job because there's a lot of stigma with the service industry. I would
Such as.
always have people I would always have people come in and say, "Oh, well, you're here, but like what's your real job? Or what do you really do? Or how do you really support yourself?" And honestly, I made more money bartending than I did in any kind of corporate setting. And it was better hours. I was working less. I was able to have fun with my friends that would come in, but I'm not spending any money. I don't have the hangover the next day.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with them, but also making sure that they're being responsible. So that always kind of stuck with me. And
Yeah.
I really never understood like why the stigma. And I think TikTok has made it a little less stigmatized right now because you are seeing these people who are in the service industry working, 5 hours, 3 nights a week, and they're bringing home the same money that you would, in an
Yeah.
office.
Mhm.
And
Um,
I was gonna say the crazy thing. That's typically the desire of most people: work less, make more, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
so it's amazing how when you say that technically is what you're doing, how there's often some type of verbal backlash from
Mhm.
others. But it's jealousy, don't we? I
it
think
is.
isn't
And
it?
fear,
Fear.
Fear and
fear.
jealousy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You could
absolutely. But
call it what it really is. That's hate.
yeah,
Yes.
no
Yeah.
hate on
Well,
Valentine's Day, folks.
That's true.
that's what I found was that a lot of folks would say, "God, if I didn't have a family to feed, I would love to do that." Or if I didn't have this, it's the fear of the inconsistency. But
Sure.
if folks really did it, I mean, not everybody can do it, but
Right.
if it was something you wanted to try and you did it and you made money, like you could stabilize it. I mean, people in the service industry do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And the whole mobile bartending thing is like I think you might have said, but it's pretty much new on the scene. How recent
yeah,
has
so
that kind of
there's
been a thing?
for probably about 10 years. So I think in the
Okay.
group that I'm in, there's like a OG, there's like three folks that are like the OG kind of like
Mhm. And
conspirators of the niche.
for the folks at home that don't know what an OG is, would you like to explain to them?
Is that a thing? The original, the original folks that started
Yeah.
the businesses.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there's a guy out of, I think it was Texas, who lives in California now, and he had
Mhm.
started something similar about 10 years ago. And just kind of using what he had at the time. There were no like portable bars. There weren't really enough things for like ice to hold for long enough, like not decent coolers and stuff like that. So
Okay.
so yeah, so he kind of pioneered that, and now there's not a ton that do what we do, but it's a lot of like Texas focused, California focused, like maybe more like adventurous states,
Mhm.
Okay.
who
Yeah.
have more people per capita, so they're having more events and they've got more of a need for it. But
Yeah.
I promise you, we're booked. We got a need here.
Absolutely.
And most events, that is included. People they're trying to find someone who can serve. Whether it be weddings or concerts or whatever the case.
Mhm.
Usually, the spirits are part of the event. So with that being said, people like to be in a celebratory mood at these functions
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
things like that. So yeah, there is definitely a lane for what it is that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's especially how you take it and then just start to be more creative with it, not just
Mhm.
setting up a bar somewhere or just serving drinks. Now you're coming with accessories and different ways to dress up your setting. And I got this right here. I'm going to throw to this
You got
picture real
pics?
quick that we talk about it, just so you can see an example of what we're talking about here. I mean, that's one of yours right there.
Okay,
That's Pearl. That's one of our champagne carts. We've got two.
that's very
Um,
nice.
yeah. So just to back up a little bit, because I missed a little bit of telling y'all kind of the start, but
Hmm.
this
Oh
ties
yeah.
back into the accessibility. So before COVID, so 2019, I started doing financial asset management for a nonprofit in Catawba
Okay.
County. And I started like say midsummer. Their big fundraiser was in November. And honestly, the work that the executive director of that nonprofit put into it did not net the financial reward that it should have. And I
Really.
went to that event. It was at a country club. It was honestly very stuffy. I'm
We
a very
know
transparent person, so I'm just gonna call it. I'm just gonna tell you. Um, so it was real
it.
stuffy.
Well,
No, there was a DJ, but nobody was really like talking or dancing or networking. I mean, it was blah.
Hmm.
And so I'm just kind of helping out and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is fine. This is what they do every year. Like, I knew I'm not going to say anything.
mhm,
So they netted honestly about $2,000. And fortunately for that nonprofit, they're federally and state funded as well. So it wasn't really the main focus to make money, but like your effort didn't match your income.
Right.
So COVID hit. A lot of the nonprofits in our area, and again, this is where I'm from. So this is like home base, Catawba County. A lot of the nonprofits servicing like women's resources or children's diaper bank, all of these different things, they couldn't operate. I mean,
right.
COVID just completely wiped them out, and it just hurt my heart so bad seeing that in my community.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of talking back and forth with my husband, and I had always missed being behind the bar. But again, I was like, oh, yeah, we've got a family. Like, what do we do? And
Mhm,
I said, well, what if there was like an ice cream truck, but for cocktails? Like, think of
mhm,
how much money you would make.
Yeah.
And
right.
unfortunately, that's not an option because North Carolina liquor laws are insane. But it kind of evolved from the cocktail truck to
Mhm,
the bar truck
mhm.
to what is now the standard pour.
Okay.
And my husband told me, he said, if you can figure out the funding, you can do it. Like whatever,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna stifle you. And in about 2 weeks, I had funding secured, twice as much as I needed, and it just kind of all seemed to go in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then looking into the liquor laws and kind of figuring out what we could do legally, there's a lot of gray area, but I realized that nonprofits have nothing, like they can do whatever they want. Like really
Oh,
the ABC board is mostly concerned about those who are taxed. Religious
mm,
organizations, government
yeah.
organizations, and nonprofits, they don't pay taxes. So they can
Okay.
file a permit and do whatever they want.
Hmm.
So
Really.
it
I
really
didn't know
became
that.
my focus to, yeah, it became my focus kind of post COVID to help the nonprofits fundraise in a less stuffy atmosphere, a little less traditional, and get that bar sales, baby, because that's where the money was. I mean, you can
Yeah.
do a silent auction, you can do a ticket, fundraiser tickets, whatever, but the bar is where the sales are.
Okay.
So once I kind of realized what my capacity was there, that's where we started. So that was really the driver for the business was to
Okay.
help
I have a
nonprofits.
quick question. So
Mhm.
prior to COVID, you already were doing your mobile bartending business?
No, we started at the end
Oh,
of
so it was a,
2020 and
okay.
officially into effect February 2021.
Gotcha. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I was clear on that. So you started after COVID. Were there any challenges? I mean, because like at the end of 2020, things were still kind of were there any?
Well, yeah, like for example, right now we can't use like actual glassware unless there is an industrial dishwasher on site or unless they get enough for everyone to have a new glass for every beverage.
Every
Mm.
time? Okay.
So, yeah, so we kind of had to figure out what our limitations were with COVID
Hmm.
and distancing. And we really marketed more towards like the outdoor venues or the open air venues,
Uh-huh.
and the majority of those, they don't have a bar set up because they never
Right.
Right.
really needed one.
Right.
So that's kind of the direction that we took. But the primary limitation specifically with COVID was just maintaining cleanliness and making sure that we had, covered straws and tossed cups and biodegradable cups. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So
Cool.
it
Yeah.
sounds like maybe in a weird twist of way that COVID actually es-
Open the
it
door.
opened up the door a little bit on your end because people had to be more creative and do more outside open air venues, and then that's
Yeah.
where you found a empty space there and said, "Boom, we're
Uh-huh.
in." That's
Yep,
awesome.
1,000%. Yeah, I hate to say it that way, but COVID kind of helped it. Um, but it also kind of forced people to be more creative
Right.
and to get out of their ruts and, you know,
Yeah. And in the event space in general, being able to either survive through COVID or get started right at the end of it like you did has helped us all because so many things couldn't happen during that year and a half period. So
It
now
was
there's a
hard.
backlog of weddings and
Oh yeah.
events that people are really, so
yeah.
now we're able to, so fortunately for me too, in my side, I was able
Mhm.
to survive my business through COVID because I still had a full-time job at the time too. So then a lot of other DJs didn't survive COVID
Yeah.
because they had,
Mhm.
they didn't have those bookings. But now it's like open the floodgates. Everybody's getting married. Everybody's having events. All these
Mhm.
things that they couldn't do, 2 years or a year and a half ago, and now we're just wide open. So I'm
Yeah. And
imagining that's
Yeah,
what you're
and
getting.
yeah.
yeah, it is. So we worked through a lot of our like COVID weddings, but we also do kind of like family reunions and backyard barbecues and
Yeah.
just folks wanting to get together post pandemic, but in a safe way, in a way
Yeah.
that everyone feels
Absolutely.
comfortable and I mean it's been fun. We've done some fun stuff.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. Absolutely. It's like I said, like I aforementioned earlier, typically that's something that's often desired at functions, no matter
Mhm.
what the celebration is.
Yeah.
It just moves everything right on along there.
Yeah. And do you also do like the bartending service, even if it's not an alcoholic beverage type of situation? Like if somebody's having a sweet 16 and they want, kind of fruity mixed
Honey
drinks,
D.
but not but not alcoholic drinks.
We do. So I kind of call it, and it's took a while, probably like the first 6 months, I really struggled with like our messaging and how to, because a lot of folks are immediately turned off when alcohol is involved. They're like, oh,
Sure.
no, I don't drink. I don't do that. Like, or I don't want people getting, trashy at my whatever.
Right.
So it really took me a little while to just kind of approach it as like beverage catering. So
Okay.
catering, but not food, just liquid,
Mm.
everything liquid. So we've
Liquid
done
diet.
proms, we've done weddings. We did a 300-person wedding that was mocktails only. And they loved it. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Like all the little old men were like, "Can I have the Shirley Temple but with extra pineapple?"
Yeah.
I mean, they just adored it.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
we do a ton. And we
And
do in the summertime, we'll do infused teas and lemonades.
oh,
So that's
nice.
something that we do. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, very nice. And that's great. You can kind of cater to multiple audiences that way. You have
Hmm.
the non-alcohol that you can offer as well as the alcohol. So that makes you, available for all occasions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for. She said it, and then Josh Walker also said that.
What's
I couldn't
that?
find the word, but it was
Oh,
mocktails.
mocktails.
Yeah, mocktails. That's what I was
Hmm.
trying to say. I didn't. I knew it was called something.
Yeah, yeah.
Non-alcoholic drinks.
Mhm. That
Mocktails,
works
man.
too.
Mocktails. So, Jessica, tell us about any bumps along the road. Anything you learned, in this journey so far that you're glad you learned it, but you wish you would have done it a different way so far.
So really just kind of honing in on that initial messaging. If you look at our social media and you kind of like scroll all the way to the end, don't do that because it's honestly super cringy at this point. But it was just a lot of like trial and stop it right now. It was a lot of trial and error, which I think you have to have as a
Yeah.
business owner. I mean, you don't know what's going to work until you know.
Okay.
So I've had a few things kind of blow up in my face. We've worked a couple of events. I'm trying to think of how to say this that not all communities agreed with. So, like drag shows, or we partnered with a food truck that was really supportive for Black Lives Matter, and we had backlash for that.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, I'm a good
Listen,
vibes only
doing
kind of
your
person.
job.
Like,
You're doing your
yeah,
job.
and I'm
So
like,
you,
you're welcome to cancel me, but I'm not gonna waver from what I believe and who I
yeah.
feel like should be supported because you're not gonna want to drink my
Listen.
cocktail. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I'd rather support and encourage than,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
waver from what I
elaborate
believe.
real fast. So you
Yeah.
had some backlash from outside party based on
Hmm.
you taking a job for a specific type of crowd of specific type of people.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And I will say in my experiences of playing music, there was an artist I produced the album for, and was a music director for at one time, and she was in the gay and lesbian community, and I had never done anything like that before, but still trying to, you're open minded, and yet when you're providing a service, you're just looking at it as an opportunity. I'm not going here agreeing. You know what I mean? I'm not going here agreeing with
Yeah.
what's all going on. But at the same time, if I got an opportunity to put some money in my pocket, as long as it's not going to harm me, I'm not going to harm anybody else. That's what I'm going to do. Now, if you have something to say about that, you're more than welcome to put that amount of money that I was going to make in my pocket.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Yeah.
what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, and there have been times, so we did very early on, kind of when all of that was happening, we had to establish what we would and would not contribute to. So anything like political wise, we kind of stay away from. Of course, anything that would be like anti-Semitic or whatever,
Oh
we
yeah, yeah,
wouldn't deal with that. But
right,
if it's a fundraiser with a food truck to support, the homelessness in
yeah,
our community, we're going
yeah,
to do it. Or
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. As
Absolutely.
long as it's not, as long as it's like it's not, how do you say? There's not something going on where it's deliberate at that particular time to offend others.
Yeah.
As these people
Yeah.
are gathered peacefully and they're just having an event,
Yeah.
hey, mind your business, people.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
DMX
yeah. As
said,
long
mind
as
your
it's
business, lady.
Yeah, as long as it's not just a flat out hate group. I mean, we'll
Right.
do
Yeah,
our
yeah,
best to
exactly.
do what we can, and especially if
Yeah,
it aligns with our values, then
Yeah.
you could tell me
Absolutely.
your opinion, but
yeah,
Yeah.
thank
exactly.
you.
So when you were talking about the stuff at the very beginning of your feed on social media, you can delete some of that, right? Because I had to
I
do the
will
same
not.
thing. I had to do the same thing, like
Well,
what I was doing my first 6 months on Instagram versus what I'm doing now. I looked at that stuff like ugh, and I had to get it. Some things I kept, but a lot of that stuff I got it out of there. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, some of it I went through and kind of cleaned up. We
Yeah.
had one of our employees left on not so great terms, so I did have to go through and like kind of clear out the stuff that she was related to. But you know what? I just kind of see it as like reminding me where I came from and
Yeah.
like
yeah.
how much we've grown,
Evolution,
and
you
you
evolve.
know Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and of course, I don't have enough storage on my phone to keep everything, so some of that's a little sentimental, I'm like, "Oh, I
yeah,
made that
yeah,
on Canva, that was my first thing, so let's just
yeah.
Mhm.
leave it." It's kinda ugly, but
Yeah.
I got music that I made in college. It's on cassette, and there was time. Yeah, but there was times I listened to it. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe like I made this. I mean, it was fire at the time.
Yes, it was.
But as I got
yes.
better and you evolve and you get more
Yeah.
skillful, I could understand what you guys are
Yeah.
saying. But I agree with what you
Yeah.
said. It took that to get you to where
Hmm.
you are currently. So yeah,
Yeah, and looking back at that, it reminds me why I am so mama bear over my brand. We're parts of different organizations, and some of those organizations will do like blasts to just like say, "Hey, look at this business" or whatever, and every single one of them know to let me see it first.
Hmm.
And I
okay.
feel awful being like that, but
But it's
if
your business.
our brand is a certain color scheme and yours is just bright blue, like I don't want to be associated with something that just looks terrible.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important to kind of see where we came from to
Yeah.
remind us why we are so particular.
Yeah.
And I've had people be like, "Well, we're not even going to deal with you then," and I'm like, "That's fine. Like
That's
I can
fine.
promote myself
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point, but I just don't want my brand tarnished
Yeah.
Oh,
because it's
absolutely.
hard. It's
It is
hard
hard.
work."
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
yours at the end of the day. So you
Yeah.
have the final say so over what it is that you align yourself with.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And if
And
you're not comfortable with it, you're not comfortable with it.
that's it. And you don't
Yeah.
have, and you can just move on. That's just fine. That's just fine. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
branding is definitely the theme of this week for us at the No
Hmm.
Shortcut Show. So we definitely want you to talk a little bit about that, and you've already touched on it a lot anyway about your personal brand and your business brand, and then what kind of decisions you made as far as how you use your social media and what to post, what not to post, when to post, things like that. I know our group would definitely be interested in hearing because we're
Oh
all
yeah,
figuring out this social media thing
branding.
together and this branding thing, and it's very important.
Yeah.
So I take not a super calculated approach, which I feel like benefits when it comes to social media. Because I don't, I mean, myself particular, like you can hear my voice in our website, you can hear my voice
Right.
on our Instagram, and that's important to me, especially in the service that we're in, because you're hiring us and you're hiring our personalities because us and the DJ, like we're the vibe. Like if
Hand
we're
Hmm.
in
not
hand.
good, nobody's going to have fun.
Yeah.
Um, so I really just try to be super authentic. So some of
Yeah.
that cringy stuff may be cringy, but it was what I was feeling at the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then as far as like how we post, I just try to be consistent. I look at our analytics and it's all over the place. I mean, people are scrolling in the bathroom or they're on their lunch break or they're,
Hmm.
at home just sitting there, just kind of mindlessly doing whatever. So I know the analytics do make sense, but I also feel like people are so random. The only consistency is that they're actually on the app.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, so we just try to kind of post when we've got authentic, relevant information to post. I don't
Hmm.
just put stuff out there to put it out there. I don't, not put stuff that I'm like, oh, that's a little embarrassing. Like if you go on our TikTok, yes, I have messy hair, no makeup, and I'm in a crop top, but if I want to make myself a cocktail and I think it's going to be pretty, then I'm going to film it and post it.
Hmm.
So again, I was the awkward, weird kid, and I
Yeah,
just do
and
what
I
I
think
do now because I've learned not to care.
I was gonna say too. I think people enjoy seeing the quote unquote human side
Yeah.
of
Hmm.
your presentation. So I think I wouldn't be too concerned like you're saying. 'Cause obviously, you're not too concerned, but I wouldn't be overwhelmed and too concerned about being always having to be fixed up to promote.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then I think
Yeah.
subconsciously people kind of enjoy seeing the human side of
Yeah.
us. And when I say us, whoever's presenting something at the time.
Yeah. For me, it's really important just to have that realness and that authenticity. Like I have three baby nieces, and I remember growing up. I was never like the tiniest thing. I grew up when skinny supermodels and skinny Paris Hilton. That was what people strove to be. And I mean, I didn't have the Kardashians yet, so my curves were not appreciated. But I didn't care. I still wore the bathing suit that would give me not the worst tan lines, and I just didn't care. And there was a point where my nieces were about to be like preteen teenagers, and they're like, we just want to be like Aunt Jessica because she doesn't care. And even if
Yeah.
in my heart I'm like, oh, I look a little weird in this, I still wore it because I just wanted to encourage them to embrace what they've got
Right.
and not strive to
Right.
be something unrealistic.
Yeah.
So really showing that real side it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, that is super important, and I've been I used to do that myself. When I always tell people now when I'm helping other businesses and even some DJs that I'm working with is when you're doing any of your marketing or your emails and things like that, write it in your own voice.
Mhm.
I used to me, college and English and all this kind of stuff taught us a certain way to write in school, but now people do like you to be a little bit more authentic and just you don't want to be writing things a certain way and then when you meet people it's a whole different vibe, right? So I've started
Mhm.
to embrace writing the way I speak and posting things like you said,
Mhm.
the way you speak, and just be your authentic country self, because then when you meet people they're like, you are that chick, and
Yeah.
that's what they look for, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
authenticity.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. That's
And
awesome.
I had hired, so one of my lead bartenders, she was also a virtual assistant for a little while, and I had hired her for about a month, and she kept saying like, when are you going to give me stuff to do? When are you going to? And literally everything that I would have her do would be something that really just needed to be in my voice.
Mm,
And I was like, you know what, Kima, let's just have you do like more of the admin side versus the social
yeah.
media side, because I don't want people to be confused, or I
Right.
don't want you to feel like you have to be a certain way to make it all
Mm,
flow. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great forward thinking. You want everything to match up, and that's
Hmm.
great that you
yeah.
even consider that aspect. I think is definitely helpful.
Yeah.
Like Famous said, because when you meet in person, you're like, "Oh, okay, this
Yeah,
this is her.
if it
Why is
don't match then that's a problem.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
facts.
and that's another reason why I always make potential clients get on a phone call with me. I
Hmm.
was super standoffish about that at first, but then I was like, you know what? If they can't take the time to call me, then
Yeah,
how is this relationship going to be up until the event? And
right.
also, I'm big on vibe check, so I wanted to make sure that we were going to mesh the whole time, because
Hmm.
planning a
Yeah,
wedding or planning any event is super stressful, and
yeah,
I want to make sure that you're handling it the way that we can both be comfortable.
right.
um and then also, you need to know what you're getting into, because I'm a lot. You can ask Travis at an event.
Yeah,
I'm like, here, I'm
It's a
there.
lot.
I'm like, hey, you want a drink? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
yeah. Yeah, I think
So
that's
if
that's just personality, though, right?
Yeah.
yeah, but I
Yeah,
don't want to ever put you in a situation where I'm too much and you're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
lady, you're stressing me out. So, and
Yeah.
I've
Right.
had people say, like, we love you, it's fine, but like, I just don't know that our group is gonna like be
Mhm.
cohesive with all this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fine.
no problem.
That's good
Yeah,
to know, because I've even started to do that too. We're so used to trying being the need to sell ourselves to people and sell our business to people. Now I word it like you just said, let's have a phone call or let's have a Zoom to see if we're a good fit for each other.
Yeah.
Not to see if I'm the best DJ for you, because I know I
mhm.
am, but
Mhm.
let's see if we're a
Ah,
Oh
good
yeah.
let's see if we're a good fit for each other,
yeah,
because
no, that
we
makes
might
sense.
not vibe, and I might say, oh, it's just not something I won't say.
Yeah.
Me being a DJ, I won't say, nah, after talking to you I realized blah blah blah, but I might say something like, yeah, I thought I was open that day, but I'm booked, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Something
Yeah.
like
without
that.
already book line.
Yeah.
You've never
Yeah.
done that
I've
before.
had to do that a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if it's just
Hey, I might
not a
have had
good
him do
vibe.
it before myself.
Yeah, I think, oh
Well, I
man, I was looking at the wrong
yeah.
calendar.
Yeah, yeah, y'all are crazy.
It's crazy out here.
Yeah, it
No,
is.
absolutely.
But the one piece of advice that I could give someone wanting to start a business, specifically if they're client facing, is oh my god, I just lost my thought.
Yeah.
This is your piece of advice.
Advice
This
to
is my
start
one
a
piece of it.
business.
My body's not wanting to give it up.
Yeah,
Would be just to attract, like to learn how to attract your ideal client. So for
Hmm.
me, it was not being the cheapest, because we're not, and not
Mm-hmm.
trying to be the cheapest,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to really explain what we offer and to lean in on that, and then to just be transparent.
Right.
Um, every call, I'm like, listen, if you get this estimate and you're like, dang, I can't afford that, like,
Mm-hmm.
just tell me. Don't
Yeah.
ghost me. Don't, just
Mm-hmm.
tell me. And if there's something that we can adjust, we can adjust. And if not, then I can refer you to someone who
Right.
maybe isn't quite as costly, or doesn't do everything that I do. So they charge a little bit less.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the best, because that's me, but
Yeah.
we can work it out.
Hit the drum roll thing. Hit the drum roll real
Yeah.
quick.
Where's my drum roll? She is.
No, I want the woo, woo, woo,
Yeah,
woo.
the other way.
Oh, she want. Oh, she want the DJ air horn.
Oh
Bars. Out
man,
here kicking
yeah.
bars.
But
Get
yeah,
it, bars?
definitely don't want to be the cheapest in the market. And I
Yeah.
always like to say, when you're providing a service, folks at home, or just people in general, you get what you pay for. You know,
Hmm.
Yeah.
get what you pay for. So if you want
Absolutely.
something really nice, sometimes it's gonna take it, a few extra dollars in that purchase. If you want something
Yeah.
nice, it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I've
Absolutely.
had clients call me back that didn't book with us, with just questions or
Mm-hmm.
red flags that they've seen as they're
Mm-hmm.
out, trying to find a different vendor. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to give you all the inside details for free, but here's the things that I would look out for, and I'm open to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another thing that we started, once we started business, there were, of course, folks that popped up kind of want to do something similar. And
Yeah.
I'll reach out to them and say, listen, here are the things, like the three things that I want you to make sure you have in place just to protect yourself. Because a lot of folks, especially with DJ and bartending, oh, it looks so fun and easy. And, all you got to do is give someone a drink, and you get, money. And it's not that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Right.
And there are folks that don't realize the insurance that you need, or the protocols that you have to go through to be safe and sanitary. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to tell those couple things, and then I'll always consult. So if anybody wants, to pay me for my time, then we'll have an in-depth conversation, and I'll share tools. I mean, that's what the mobile beverage group did for me. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
yeah, so I'm happy to always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
That's a
awesome.
great segue for your information.
Yeah, that's what this community is about. So if
Yeah.
someone wants to get in contact with you, how can they?
So the best thing to do is slide into my DMs, Facebook, Instagram, our website. It's the Standard Pour Company, all spelled out. So they can do that way. My cell phone number's attached. I'm always open for a call, email,
Everything
yeah,
is at the Standard Pork Company on Instagram, on
everything. Yep.
Facebook, on the website, thestandardporkcompany.com. Reach out to Jessica Whitesides, y'all. She got
Yeah.
game that she's giving out some
Yeah.
game. So what's the
That's
company look like? So how many employees do you have now?
7.
7 employees. And what's it looking like this year for you? What's the events?
So we are fully booked this year. The
wow.
only
Awesome.
month that I'm not completely booked. So we keep a few weekends in June and July open, just because it's so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've got some pretty strict like weather policies, just because we've been out in the snow before, and I will
Yeah.
not have my staff freezing or overheating. So
Yeah.
we do have some weekends that we keep open, just so they can go do like family stuff and beach vacations or whatnot. And then December we keep open because that's repeat business. So we
Yeah.
keep the priority in December for those folks. But
Right.
for
Holiday
20, do what?
and holiday, right? During
Yes,
that.
yes. Well, I mean, I myself personally, I'm booked Christmas Eve for some holiday
Oh yeah,
parties.
yeah, and
Yeah.
New Year's Eve too. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Raleigh this 2 New Year's ago, and then last New Year's I was local because I was like Raleigh's way too far, and I had to stay over, and it was a whole thing. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so 2023, we're solid, we're booked.
yeah,
If a repeat customer comes to me and they want to do a backyard barbecue, we'll work it out. But
yeah.
we service all of North Carolina, South Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, and Southern Virginia. So we do the military ball in November.
Okay.
Um, So we're everywhere. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
That's
I've got staff
amazing.
all across because I don't want to charge any like travel fees if
Oh
it's
yeah,
crazy.
just gas, buddy. I tell you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, are you using
Absolutely.
any eggs in your cocktails?
So no, because
All
that's one of our
right, I
health
just gotta
things.
say,
But I
you have
myself
to get a.
personally eat 2 eggs every morning, and I feel like the queen. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have
I
to get.
know,
You
but
know,
the
eggs are
price are going
expensive.
up.
That's my running joke or my running joke for the new season. I was just gonna say, if you making any eggs in the cocktails, that's another surcharge and a
I know you
ma'am
got to add
charge.
extra if you got eggs in it nowadays, man.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
okay.
Yeah, this has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
awesome, Jessica. Thank you so much for the game and for joining with us. Everybody, make sure you follow the Standard Pour Company on Instagram and
Yes, yes,
Facebook, and
yes.
hit her up and share this episode with all your friends because this was really cool, right?
Man, it was great. It was great. We hope everybody enjoyed your lunch hour. Thank you guys for being here with us live. We still have a few people on.
Yeah.
If you're coming back on watching the replay, folks, please feel free. Drop a name in the comments. Tag your friends. Share it on your news feed. We're trying to build our community up, and so far it is a slow and steady grind, but we appreciate you to the
Yeah.
utmost. Thank you. Thank
Absolutely. So we're going to close this thing out. We want to thank Miss Jessica for joining with us once again with the applause.
you. Yeah, and I just want
Thank
to
y'all for
say.
having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. And I just want to say the chairman of the board, ladies and gentlemen, and the executives band will be in Selma, North Carolina on this Saturday, 7 p.m. at the Rudy Theater. I think there's a few tickets left. If you want to purchase a ticket, go to thechairmanoftheboard.com. I also have it shared on my news feed on my timeline if you want to get a ticket at Selma, North Carolina. Before we get out of here, quick shout outs to our Praise and Faith family,
Yeah.
Hour of Power, A
Yo.
Touch of Faith, Smooth Sales, Mellow Groove, Chairman of the Board, the executives, our official Earth, Wind, and Fire family, and our Honeycomb family. Shout out to Shelly, Wendy over there. They said posted a Happy Valentine's Day thing today, and I was interacting with them. So special shout out to our Honeycomb family over there.
Absolutely. And happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And of course, my man DJ Sticks is here. And shout out to Juju Lee Events and FMG family. Jessica, I got that Dolly Parton mix coming for you, I promise.
Dolly Parton
Oh my
mix.
God, I'm so
Yeah. She got a
excited.
little mashup she got me
Yeah.
tasked to do.
Did
And
I say Smooth Sales?
you
I
said
hope I
smooth
didn't forget. Okay,
smooth
make sure
sales,
I'm
what's
running
happening?
them off so quick.
Yeah. Listen, what happens if you forgot somebody?
I tell them, ladies and gentlemen, if I left you out, please charge it to my mind and not my heart. especially on today. Don't charge nothing to my
Don't
heart
charge it
today.
to my heart on Valentine's. Yo, we'll see
Dig?
y'all next week, man. Tonight I
Yes.
got I got a charity, not charity, but a high school girls basketball game. Their senior night at the Chestnut Ridge Academy Basketball Academy. I'm doing their game tonight, and then a wedding on Friday, and we back.
We bike. We do.
We
Hey,
back.
Tuesday will be here again before
Tuesday
we
I'll
know
be
it.
here again. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. We see you next week.
Peace.
Peace, love.
We'll let that song play for a minute
Yeah, let that
because
play.
it goes with the theme.
Yeah.
It goes with our guest because
yeah.
let the hook tell it.
Is this the gin one?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know what this guy is talking about.
That's my favorite.
Really?
We'll have to
That's
send
the-
you the full version then.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got the full version? Send it
Hey,
to him.
I'm dope. All right, let me finish this up. Peace.
Performance.